Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. Today is Tuesday, March the 29th, 2022. I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coach, and I am joined, as I am every Tuesday and Sunday, by the one and only and in high demand, Miss Deb Lutz.
Your intros get better and better, Coach. I love it.
Hey, I've gotten several tweets and DMs saying, "Hey, we want more Deb on there. We like her picks and her breakdown." Hey, you may have to take the solo ones from me here at some point. So I don't see Charles in the background. No Charles Barkley today.
I am on the road today. It's a very bleak, great, beige screen behind me. So I've got no paraphernalia.
No, well, we'll let Chuck slide for one day, I guess. But today's going to be a good one. We've got a 5-game slate with some really interesting matchups. A lot of news to discuss. So we'll break that down for you. We are presented, by the way, by Prize Picks. If you'd like to go to prizepicks.com, give them a shot. If you're in a state that you can play, Prize Picks has been just absolutely on fire for us. If you sign up for the first time, you get a 100% match all the way up to $100 by using the promo code CoachTalk, all one word, no space. So today, 5-game slate, Deb. We're going to dive right into this thing. We have 2 7 o'clock and 2 7:30 games, and we have to wait all the way until 10 o'clock for the last game. So that's going to be interesting, a 2.5-hour gap between that last game. So don't plan on doing a lot of swapping because you're only going to have that one game sitting by itself. All right, first game on the slate. It's Chicago Bulls at the Washington Wizards. Chicago's favored by 4. It's a 223.5 total, 113.75 implied for the Bulls, 109.75 for the Wizards. The Bulls come in 43-32, Washington 32-42. Lonzo Ball still out for Chicago. Kyle Kuzma still out for Washington, and Vernon Carey with a Q tag for the Wizards. So let's game set it just a bit here. It is the second night of a back-to-back for Chicago, so that could have some effect, even a couple of minutes here and there. And it's the first night of a back-to-back for Washington. So the only game that has that scenario tonight, and it can make a couple of point difference. Pace-wise, nothing to write home about, though, 16th and 23rd. But on the good side of this, Deb, we have 2 defenses that are not good, 22nd and 25th. So what are you thinking here? What's your initial take? Is this going to be an important game on your roster build?
Yeah, given the small slate tonight, I like this game. There's a couple of games we'll get to later on that just are really unexciting for me from a DFS standpoint. And so this is going to be probably one of my, could be one of my top 2 games that I go to here. I think there's some decent sort of mid-range to upper tier guys and some value here as well. So on the Washington side, so I know you're not a narrative guy, but I'm actually a narrative girl.
No, I'm a narrative guy. It just depends.
It depends on the narrative. All right. So we've got Satoransky here playing against his former team.
Yes.
And he has taken over the starting position at point guard. And he's really inexpensive for the minutes that he's getting. 3,600 on FanDuel, 4,100 on DK. He's been playing solid as that fill-in starter, and I like him tonight.
Okay.
We're gonna need some value tonight. Is how I'm looking at it. So I like him for value. I also don't mind KCP. He's worked for me on a number of occasions. I think fairly priced on FanDuel in particular, 5,200. He continues to get the minutes, and he contributes across the board. So he's not, I think he's solid, doesn't have a ton of upside, but if you're looking again to get sort of more of that, $5K range, he might be someone to pop in. The other guy to take a look at would be Abdijah. His price has crept up a bit, but on DK, he's still a decent value at 5,100.
Yeah.
And he's been really, with Kuzma out, he's really been getting a lot of that usage and a lot of those minutes. So I like him as well.
Okay.
Kispert's been hot, but I'm not going there. I think he's too up and down, and not my favorite play tonight. But the guy that I'm really interested in, and believe it or not, because I am not a Porzingis fan, but he's not a game time decision tonight. He is playing.
True.
He's become the number one option on Washington with particularly Kuzma out,
Yeah.
and with Beal out. So I like him in this spot. I think he's got Vukovic defense, which is not the best. 8,800 on FanDuel, 8,500 on DK. He's going to be a very strong option for me tonight.
Okay. I think he will be pretty popular too.
Yeah, he will be. Yeah.
And he gets that power forward center eligibility, which doesn't hurt.
Which is really nice.
Yeah.
On the Chicago end of things, I was surprised to see, now they are on the second night of a back-to-back, but their players have moved way down in price. We've got, Derozan on FanDuel is under 8K, which, they're in the playoffs, but they're fighting to move up in the rankings. I think they're still going to bring it tonight. And like you said, against a pretty weak defense in Washington. I like Derozan here tonight.
Right.
The other guy I like, and I probably won't end up taking both, so I'll have to decide based on positioning. But the other guy I like is Vukovic at 7,600 on FanDuel and 8,000 on DK. There are a few center options tonight, so he may not be my number one pick, but he's been playing pretty solidly, and I think can definitely hit his value at that price.
Yeah, I like it. I'm with you on the Satoransky narrative, just to start right off there. Definitely one of the narratives I like to focus on, as you know, Deb, is because you've heard me probably a million times talk about it, is teams against, or players against their former teams is really my favorite narrative, because, pro athletes have pretty big egos and they get those bruised pretty easily. And, when you have a team that you feel gave up on you, you really want to go after it. So I know he gets Caruso and Dosunmu defense here and there, but I think Sato, with the minutes he's playing, without a ton of value opened up yet, at 4.1 is a solid play. I'm with you there. Porzingis is extremely tempting to me, but 8.5 is just a little much for the rest of my build. But I do like the power forward eligibility there, no question about it. But you hit the nail on the head for me in this game. My favorite play in this game is Derozan. I think his price is finally down. If you remember, he was 10-1 at one point. And the fact that you can get him at 8.3 on DraftKings and sub 8K on FanDuel, I mean, I know his peripheral numbers aren't as great. He is scoring dependent, but he can score a lot of points. And, they have a decent implied total here. I think he's the top play for me on the Bulls side. I am tempted with Vuk a little bit. That price is very fair at 8K. But the question is, like you said, how many centers, you're going to have to make some decisions, because even though there's only 10 teams playing, there's about 5 centers that I like. So that's the tough call there. So I'll have some exposure with you. You mentioned Deni Avdija. I like Deni Avdija. I've been playing him a lot. And he generally comes off the bench as a sixth man, gets 30 minutes, low 30s at times, and he produces and he rebounds. He can get you a few stocks. I really like him at that 5.1 price. I'd prefer him right now over Kispert and Hashimura, even though those guys start. So for me, it'll probably be some Washington value and then the pay up to Derozan for Chicago.
Cool.
All right. Game 2. It's the other 7 o'clock game, and it's the feature game of the night. Everybody's going to be watching this one. And, it makes a lot of sense because these two teams both could make deep runs into the playoffs. You've got the Bucks at the Sixers. Philadelphia's favored by 1.5. It's a nice 231 total, 114.75 implied for Milwaukee, and 116.25 for the Philadelphia 76ers. Teams come in with identical records, Deb. They're both 46 and 28. So this late in the season, you got two teams with the same record fighting for position in the playoffs and trying to make sure they have some home court. This is a big game. And here's how big it is. There's nobody listed on Philadelphia injury-wise. The only person listed on Milwaukee is Giannis, and he's probable. So he definitely is going to play in this game. So we're going to have nobody sitting. This is almost going to be, a playoff type of atmosphere game. You've got a good pace team in Milwaukee at 8th, a slower half-court team in Philly at 28th. So there's a, real difference in style. But you have two teams that are playing, pretty solid defense. Milwaukee certainly has come down. They're 14th after being as high as 6th. And then Philly has remained in that top 10 at 10th. So neither one's playing the type of defense that they did. They were both ranked in the top 5 at a lot of portions of last year. But good enough defense, to keep them with these solid records. Really, both teams have just been a juggernaut on offense. So it does, it's conducive to a nice matchup for us for DFS purposes, which isn't always the case for the, the biggest game of the night that everybody's going to be watching.
Totally agree. I mean, everybody's healthy. Can you believe that?
No.
No, the last time I saw that, exactly. So what a great game it's going to be. And, having just been at the Phoenix Philly game the other night,
right.
You could see, I mean, the fans were jazzed. It was a playoff atmosphere. The Stars played big minutes and they played hard. And I think you're going to see the same again tonight in this game. So this is going to probably be the game where I spend a good portion of my salary.
Okay.
I just, you got some real superstars here, and I think staying away from them tonight is going to be a mistake. On Milwaukee, I really like Giannis. I don't think Philly has anyone to guard him. Not that anyone really has anyone to guard him, but on the Philly side, I just don't know. Tobias Harris can't guard him. They usually play Thibault at the 3. He's too small. It just, it'll be interesting. I think he can eat them up. I also like Lopez. His minutes are coming up. Again, you talk about the center issues, and that'll be particularly a problem on FanDuel.
For
but
sure.
on DK, where you can use 2, he's 4,200 on DK, which is a real fair price. And he's going to be needed to be out there against Embiid, and his minutes are coming up. So I do like him.
Okay.
Given that everyone's healthy, I'm certainly not going to go with like a Connaughton or an Allen. They're just not going to get enough usage. But I'm also less likely to go with Holiday or Middleton here, just given their pricing. I think I'm going to pay up all the way up to Giannis. And I think Philly's defense is going to be good enough that Middleton and Holiday aren't going to necessarily hit their value. So it's probably, for me, it's Giannis and Lopez. On the other side, Embiid really wants to show who's MVP, that he's MVP worthy. And playing against Giannis, playing at home, I think he has another big game. So he's likely to be my center choice. Despite all the other options, I just think he smashes that number, and you're going to be it's going to be tough to be at the top of the leaderboards without him.
I agree.
I also think I like Harris again tonight. I called him out on the pod the last game, and of course didn't put him in my lineup. He hit value and he looked really good. Harden is, I've been reading that he might be injured still. His hamstring is still bothering him. He's playing through it, but he just didn't look great. He sort of at times would just fade into the background. And so I think they need Harris from an offensive standpoint. So I'm going to take a look and see if I can get him in my lineup. On FanDuel in particular, he was at 5,900, so not too pricey. So someone I'm going to keep in my player pool consideration. Thibault, I went with him last time and he completely, messed me up. He's boom or bust. So
big time.
GPP only for me. He may get a bunch of steals against the faster paced Bucks tonight. But GPP only. He's super risky. And then, Harden, again, I don't know what you think about that, Coach. Be interested in your take, but he's just not looking great right now.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I think Harden, I think it's a combination of things. Number one, it's still very, very new to this team, and the fitting in and the timing, and a new offense, a new coach. You can't expect him to just dive in and be the James Harden of old. Plus, there's a lot of theories going around too. I mean, let's face it, I know it's talked about a lot, but it's true. He's a big party dude. And, they spent like 3 days in LA. There was rumors he was out on the town, till wee hours every morning. I don't know, man. It's just, it's hard at 10-2 to pay up for him, even though he's James Harden. He can break a slate at any moment. But I agree with you. He doesn't look like he's totally in groove with his game and this team yet. So that, in combination with the fact that Joel Embiid has obviously made up the decision that nobody is going to beat me at this MVP thing, and I'm going to play and kick it, whatever I got to do. Now, I will say, and, it's something to discuss here, maybe not today, but down the road, all these extended minutes that he's playing and the incredible effort that he's playing with. Like, there was a game the other day where he went after a steal with about a minute left, up by like 12 or something, and then he forced a three. So all of that energy and trying to chase this MVP thing, I'm worried it's going to catch up with him in the playoffs, because he's a guy that's, always played better with rest. And he's just a big, lumbering dude. And we'll see. I think he's still in that focus mode. Like, I agree with you. He's a great play. I'll take him at 11-3 as the anchor of my squad tonight. I think this, he played great against the Joker. He played great against, all the other guys recently that were in those discussions for MVP. I think this would really be the icing on the cake, or the cherry on the sundae, whatever, if he can outplay Giannis here. So I'm going Embiid. I believe in that. And, we'll worry about the extended minutes here later when we start breaking some of these games down in the playoffs. But Embiid at 11-3, great play to me. Not going to go with Harden at the 10-2 number. Still think that's a little high. I'm not completely sold on Harris. I know he got it done for you. He's playing a little better. He's a talented player, and he can do it in all different areas. But I think he grabs Giannis defense today, and that's not going to be too much fun, because I think they'll start Lopez on Embiid. So I'm not going to go Harris. Maxey is tempting. He's 6'4". He's had some games where he's really gotten it done. And if I can fit him in, he would be my second sixer that I would consider. But it may just be Embiid only for me. On the Milwaukee side, Giannis is rested. But he's 11-7. And if you make a lineup with Giannis and Joel, it definitely, rope ties you the rest of the way trying to put an aggressive lineup together, especially when you want to put guys in like Derozan, like I want to put in here. So I don't know if I'm going to get to Giannis. Again, this is not coach saying fade Giannis. He'll be on my coach's clipboard today. But I just don't feel super comfortable having enough salary left unless more value opens. Now, if we get news somewhere that all of a sudden somebody's sitting and we got a starter that's 3-2 and he's in a smash spot, beautiful. There we go. There's our path to Giannis. And I'd love to sit there and have Giannis versus Embiid in that game. But, I'm being realistic here. So my initial builds, he's not going to make it, but I am going to keep him, definitely in my sights. The guy that I sort of like for the Bucks is Middleton. He's 7-8, which is mid-level price. And I think he'll do fine. I know you've got Matisse Thybulle, and he may guard him at times, but Middleton is, again, at times he plays that pseudo point guard, lets Drew on the wing. So I think he can get that assist ratio up to where it's been. And, I think at that price, if I'm only playing one of the big price guys here in Embiid and Giannis, it'll allow me to get a Middleton, Derozan kind of guys in like that. So that's my initial feel. I'm with you, though. I think this is playoff type game. We don't have to look very deep at the benches. Not sure how much Portis's role is going to decrease at 6'3", because if he comes in there, he could come in for Giannis, but if he comes in for Lopez, then Giannis is going to have to go in on Embiid. It just, it creates some mismatches for Coach Bud. So not going to go on into the bench with these teams either. Makes sense?
I think it makes total sense. I like it.
All right. We've got 2 7:30 games. This one, head scratcher here. Tough one to figure. We talked a little bit about it pre-pod here, and we were like, okay, what are we going to do with this game? But let's talk about it. It's the Los Angeles Lakers at the Dallas Mavericks. Dallas favored by double digits, so that's no fun. They're favored by 12, and it's only a 218 total. When you get double-digit, spreads with two teens, totals, that's a big red flag. Lakers are only 103 implied, Dallas 115. So not what you would call a great DFS game. Lakers 31-43. They're just trying to get the 10th spot just to get in the play-in. Deb, can you believe that?
This is the Lakers. Come on.
They may not even make the play-in. And then they're going against the Mavericks, who are 46-29. And if you see my new backup area here, you can't really see Dirk. He's on the side, and he's pissed. So after this, I'm going to move Dirk over so we can see him, because, we can't disrespect the GOAT like that. Yeah. So anyway, so let's look at injuries here. We've got, of course, I've got LeBron James counted out, and he's listed as doubtful, but I don't think he's going to play. Anthony Davis and Nunn are out. Dwight Howard is going to play. He's probable. I think he plays. Theo Pinson out for Dallas. Sterling Brown, Tim Hardaway still out. So they're pretty much at full strength here. Lakers 6th in pace. So it is pace up for Dallas, but are they really 6th in pace with these guys out? Probably not. Dallas slowest team in the league. So all these backups for LA that are going to be playing, and then a pretty popular probably Russell Westbrook tonight. Who'd say Westbrook's going to be chalk at this point, but he probably will be. But it is a huge pace down. You can't get slower than Dallas. Defensively, too, Dallas can get it done. They're 7th. Lakers not so much at 21. So here are my 2 questions I'll pose to you very simply, because there's really not a whole lot to talk about other than these 2 things, unless you go with some value from the Lakers, which you can. Are you going to jump on this Westbrook chalk with everybody else, or is this a playable game enough to spend up for Luka? Well, obviously, it's probably not going to be, because you're looking at Giannis and Embiid, but is it doable with Luka, or is it just a straight pass for you?
So I am staying far, far away from Westbrook.
Mm-hmm.
I'm staying far, far away from all the Lakers. What a mess. I mean, it's a total pass for me on the Lakers side. I agree with you. I don't think LeBron plays, which means he really must be injured, because they're not going to get into the 10th spot without him.
Incredible.
I think against a different team, I'd go with Westbrook, but I think the defense of Dallas is solid, and they're gonna lock on him because they have nobody else. So I'm a total pass on the Lakers side.
Right.
On the Dallas side, I think what happens is they get a huge lead, and I think Doncic sits.
Okay.
I don't think he gets his full run, and so I'm staying away from him. I think I'm less excited about him hitting values than some of the other guys we talked about. So I stay away from him, but I am considering keeping in my player pool Brunson, because of Doncic sitting a bit, or I should say Doncic.
Oh, we're not gonna let Kraft with that one down.
Because Luka sits a bit. I will consider Brunson and see if he can fit in. And the other guy that I want to take a look at is Bullock.
Okay.
He's been, he's definitely reasonably priced, 4,900 FanDuel, 4,200 DK. He may be one of those value pieces we're looking for. He's starting. He should get the minutes, and against a very shaky Lakers defense that's not going to have LeBron. I could see him putting up some pretty big numbers tonight, given that pricing. So he's another guy that I'm going to seriously look at from a value perspective. But not going for any of the big guys in this game, that's for sure.
I'm with you. I'll make it very short and sweet here. This will be the game we can speed by. I just don't like the feel of this game. I think that Dallas wins by double digits. I'm not spending 8-8 on Russ. I know he's going to get a ton of usage here, but he's shooting the ball terribly from outside. And, how long do they keep him in there if it gets out of control? He's going to get the teeth of the defense with either Bullock or Brunson and just a bunch of people helping in the paint. And he really is the only offensive weapon that they have. So I get the fact that he's chalk, his usage numbers, and in the models and everything, it does show that he's a good play today, but I just don't trust it. I don't think at that price he's going to break the slate. Yeah, what if he gets 40, 45? Okay, that's fine, but do you really need those at that price? And is there a floor? Absolutely. So, can you go with any of the value? If you trust Reeves, Gabriel, Johnson, Howard, Monk, Anthony, Horton, Tucker, Augustine, Bradley, Ellington, Bazemore, or Ariza, God bless you. You got them. They're yours.
I think they need to bring Luol Deng in. I heard he's still on the payroll, actually.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. You talk about a sweetheart deal. He's getting all this money all these years.
Exactly.
And nothing.
Brilliant.
I would like that kind of severance. That's for sure. For the Mavericks, I'm with you. You can't pay up for everybody. Luka's probably going to have a solid game. If they do get a big lead, he's going to be a big part of it. But 11-4, I still don't think I can do it. It's just not enough salary for all these big dudes. And I'm really counting on Joel to be my big money guy. I'm not really fond of Brunson and Bullock tonight. I just think the fact that, when Doncic, Brunson, and Bullock all play, which, hasn't been a ton, one of them seems to be out a lot, but, it does split the usage that leaks away from Luka. That's not much, but Brunson and Bullock somewhat sharing that. And the only time Bullock was really playable was when he was hot from three. He was shooting like 45% from three for a while, but then he went into some hellacious slumps, like 3 for 20 and stuff like that. So I just don't trust. He's a great defender. He's a good guy to have out on the court, but for DFS, I'm not going to go there. And then, Finney-Smith-Powell, Dinwiddie now coming off the bench, being a big offensive plug, in there. Another big piece with Doncic, Brunson, and Bullock. So I just don't see enough DFS points to go around for those guys, and really not interested in any of the bigs. So this is almost definitely going to be a full pass for me.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm close to that. So, okay.
Second 7:30 game, Deb. A big spread in this one, though. Detroit at Brooklyn. This is the one that's a tough one to figure. Brooklyn's favored by a big 14. 233 is the total, though. So you do have a really good total. It's the top one of the slate. Teams that can score, not defend that well. 109.5 implied for Detroit, and definitely the biggest on the night, 123.5 for Brooklyn. So this game definitely has some teeth to it. And you've got Detroit obviously playing for ping pong balls. They're 20-55, but I will say that their youngsters are at least competitive and they're scoring the ball, which, keeps things interesting. They're not like the other teams that have gone into the tank, like the Sacramentos and et cetera. So they're Brooklyn, though, 39-36. They're making this big run. Everybody's trying to avoid them in the first round of the playoffs. They're down in that 7-8 type position right now. They can run, clear the deck here with some wins and move up a bit, but they're not going to get to the point where they have any home playoffs. So, they're motivated. They want to win. They want to certainly avoid the top team or two in the East, but nobody really knows who that is right now. It's probably Philly, or is it Miami, or there's so many different looks here. But the bottom line is you've got for Detroit, everybody's in. Livers is out, and he had gotten some minutes, so I wouldn't worry about that. And then you've got Chris Smith, questionable. He's not in their rotation. Ben Simmons still out for Brooklyn, but everybody else is in for Brooklyn. So the set here, 12th and 11th in pace. So you've got above average pace for both sides. That's why you've got such a strong total here. And then it adds to it that Detroit doesn't play very good defense. So the D in Detroit does not stand for defense. They're 24th. Brooklyn's only 15th, right in the middle of the pack. So this game has, I think, some real juice to it for needing exposure here for the optimal lineup. What do you think?
Yeah, I tend to agree. There's a lot of angles to look at here. There's so many top dogs on this slate for a small slate. It's real tough because you have to take a look at Kyrie and Durant. But given what we've talked about already, I just, don't have any money for them. I think Durant has played real well. I think he played real well in his prior game against Detroit.
Yes.
But he's virtually the same price as Giannis.
Yeah.
So I'm going to actually look for more value plays in this game. Hoping that it will actually be a bit of a blowout, and maybe Durant and Kyrie share in the usage and sort of split the points. So I'm looking at a couple of guys on Brooklyn's side, Claxton being one of them.
Okay.
I think this is a good matchup for him. And it might be a game where they feel they don't need to play too much Aldridge or Drummond. They're going to, rest them up a bit, play the young guy because it is so much in hand. So he's 4,700, and he's somebody that I'm going to consider. He does qualify for the power forward spot, so that is helpful as well.
Right.
And then the other guy on the Brooklyn side is Curry, who has not been playing particularly great. But he's all the way down to 4,300 on DK and 4,700 on FanDuel. And given the so-so defense on Detroit, I think he'll get a lot of minutes. And if they do start to blow out and they rest Kyrie a bit in particular, he could get some extra usage.
Okay.
On the Detroit side, there's some guys I like here as well. I think these guys, they're going to play hard. Like you said, they're not giving up. They want to show up, and you've got some young guys who are really trying to showcase their talents. So I like Cade at 7,700 on FanDuel. I think it's very fair. He's been playing really well. And I think, if he gets, Kyrie or Curry defense, I think he does real well against that.
You're Cunningham, you're talking?
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Cunningham.
I think, is the $1 million question here will be, does Bruce Brown guard Cade Cunningham or Sadiq Bey?
Or Bey. Exactly. I know.
That's the big question.
That's absolutely the big question. Because Bey is the other guy that I'm interested in, and his price is all the way down to 5,500 on FanDuel.
Yeah, you know what's amazing though, Deb? He's 7K on DraftKings.
I know. Well,
it's ridiculous. And same thing with Cunningham. He's 8.8 on DraftKings.
So
Detroit, did not get the discount on DK like they did.
DK, exactly. Yeah. So likely I'm staying away from both of those guys on DK, but on FanDuel, they're real, particularly Bey at 5,500. Seems like a steal, to your point, though.
That is cheap.
Yeah. And Grant's out. Grant's out for the rest of the season. So
Right.
Bay all of a sudden becomes, the centerpiece of their small forward position. So, but he has been, he's been up and down. But could be someone I'm willing to take a chance on at that price. Bagley's come up too much in price for me to consider here. But to add to the confusion of the center position, Isaiah Stewart's been playing really well, and Brooklyn's defense, front court defense, is not that great at the center position, and so if I decide to go with Giannis as my pay-up option and not Embiid, Stewart's going to be one of two guys that I'm considering at the center position.
Yeah, and the price is right for him. A lot to unpack here for me. This is my big stance of the day that I've spent the most time looking into, and I could spend 30 minutes explaining all the reasoning, but I'll just say this. My second pay-up guy to go along with Joel today is Kevin Durant. I'm going to spend the 11.3 on him on DraftKings, spend up for him on FanDuel and on Yahoo. I think this is a perfect spot against a team that's, I think, will score enough and it'll stay close enough, even though the spread is 14, that Durant, I think, has possibly the highest score on the slate type of potential here. I think that, with the correlation of that, I think this is a game where Kyrie maybe takes a bit of a step back. Now, when I say a bit of a step back, it's not like I think he's going to have a bad game. I just don't think at 10-8, he's the play. So, on Prize Picks, you'll see, if you listen to the Prize Picks pod earlier that I did with Crash, Kevin Durant is my top over on his total points, and Kyrie under. I like the correlation here, the way it sits with the style defense that Detroit plays. I think they can contain Kyrie enough. Not that he couldn't get 30 real points and all that. I just think that the majority of that scoring, with trying to figure out who's going to guard Durant between Bay, Bagley, Olynyk, they're going to try a little bit of some different, things, but they don't have a good matchup for him. Not that anybody does. Durant's that awesome, but it's not like they have a Giannis at the 4 that can guard him on the other side of the floor. So I really like KD here. He's one of my top plays on the slate. And then really don't trust anybody else, though, on the net side. Kyrie, like I said, the correlation there, I think he backs up just a bit. Now the fact that Curry, Brown, Dragic, Mills, those guys are all sharing sort of the fourth option type position. You see Curry just has become sort of irrelevant at times with this team. And so not comfortable there. And then you get the same mix at the bigs, in my opinion. You're getting, Drummond and then some LMA and some Claxton. So Drummond's still the starting center. He's cheap at 5.5, but between that rotation, sometimes he just never comes back in. And they're trying to keep him, I think, fresher for the playoffs. And so I don't trust any of those guys whatsoever. From the Detroit side, Cunningham, I'm going to play him on FanDuel. I'm not going to play him on DraftKings. It's just this is the time of the year you're going to see these $1,500 to $2,000 price differences, and you just have to take the value where you can. And it's just automatic, great play on FanDuel. To me, he's overpriced on DraftKings. So it's totally two different ends of the spectrum. What I am going to do, though, is I'm going to do a lot of looking at Coach Speak, beat writer stuff, because I can't find enough on Basketball Reference. And by the way, if you're ever looking for previous matchups and gameplays, basketballreference.com, you could go to advanced stats. You could put people on and off the floor, see who's getting the minutes, usage, etc. I want to see if Brown is going to guard more Cunningham right off the bat or Saddiq Bey, because Saddiq Bey's price is great as well. I don't want to play Cunningham and Bey, although I'm considering it on FanDuel just because they're dirt cheap. But one or the other is who I would prefer here. And then because I like so many centers, it's hard. But Isaiah Stewart doesn't have that power forward eligibility anymore. So on DraftKings it is. So I don't know if he's going to make it. But at $5K, he is a nice guy to help, balance that salary. I just want to mention too, Claxton, you can play at power forward on FanDuel, but not on DraftKings for anybody that was looking at him as a backup off the bench. So I'm going to have exposure here for sure. KD or bust for me on that side. And then a little bit of what I have to call the value on FanDuel with Cunningham and Bay. And maybe Bay makes both lineups. If he's going to, I'm thinking that they may just try to have Curry or Dragic or somebody come out. I don't know how they're going to match up. And that's the problem that's going to allow, either Cunningham to Bay, I think, to have a good game.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like, it feels like with Cade with the ball in his hand as much as he has it, that Brown would be guarding him. But it'd be great to get that info. You're going to post that on Discord for us, right, Coach?
It'll be in Discord throughout the day because if Curry's guarding Saddiq Bey, it's Saddiq Bey all day long.
Totally. I mean, Saddiq Bey day.
Yeah, exactly.
And I love your call on Durant. I mean, I really struggled with that one. Again, it's just about trying, between Giannis and Embiid and Durant, who do you fit in? I think some are obvious to leave out, like a Luka or a Kyrie, but
right.
I mean, Durant, to your point, the way Detroit plays their defense, like he could totally dominate. So
we'll see. And if it doesn't blow out, people are going to go, well, Coach, you always game script blowouts. Well, yes, I do, but I don't think this one just blows right out. Detroit has been competitive. I'll give them that. He's got them playing hard. I think they're trying to prove something, trying to get some chemistry. They have a lot of young guys. And, I think they stay close enough. I mean, Brooklyn's not a shutdown defensive team, let's face it. So there should be some scoring and some pace here. All right. Are you ready for the last one on the board?
Final game.
Yeah, the 2.5-hour break just to get to the Utah Jazz and the Los Angeles Clippers. Utah is a road favorite by 1 right now, 217.5 total, 109.25 for the Jazz. 108.25 for the Clippers. So 2 teams under 110 implied. Yuck. That is not pretty. Utah comes in 45-30. The Clippers 36-39. Big question marks here. Bogdanovich and Gobert. We don't know if either one is going to play. Also, House is questionable. He may be back in the mix. He's been out. And would you believe dusting off old Greg Monroe again? He's probable. And then you have Whiteside out. So it's just an absolute mess with this Utah lineup. Clippers, on top of everything else, Paul George is questionable. He might make his first debut here. So not that I think that he's playable because he'll be on a certain minutes restriction, but it does jack up the usage for any of these other guys you may think are value. But I will say this, Deb. If there's one team in the league that has punched the old coach right square in the schnozzoli here, it's the Clippers. Good Lord. Jackson, Coffey, Morris, Batum, and Zubac, those 5 specifically, and Terrence Mann, they take turns like throwing up a 7 fantasy point game. It's like, what is going on with this team?
Exactly.
I absolutely hate them. Guys that are out, Kawhi Leonard, Norman Powell, and Jason Preston. They've been out for a billion years. So I don't even know what to say about this game. Utah's 22nd in pace, Clippers 18th. Both played good defense. Utah 11th and the Clippers 8th. Is this like, hope you have the biggest score, go to sleep, don't even watch this crappy game, and then see what you got in the morning?
Yeah, I mean, it might be. That might be the best option. Kind of get a good night's sleep that way.
I'm a psycho at watching basketball games, and because I always want to catch every tiny edge. I'm going to have trouble watching that game. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do it.
Well, of course, though, it's Greg Monroe time. So, I mean, you might just need to. So talk about like flashback here. We kind of roll back
really
the clock.
Circa 2006 or whatever.
Exactly. Roll back the clock. I mean, what's crazy is that if Gobert sits, he is their center because Whiteside we know is out. So he's got to get at least 25 minutes.
If he plays.
If he plays,
Right.
I think it's looking like he's playing now. I know he was out on Sunday, but they were talking about Tuesday being his sort of debut. So,
Okay.
he's crazy.
He's pretty cheap.
He's pretty well, and he's the minimum on DK. And it's not like he's playing for the first time this year. He's played in some games.
No, wait a minute. I'm confused.
Sorry.
Gobert or
no, sorry, Monroe.
Oh, okay. I was going to say if Gobert's the minimum, I'll take him.
No, if Gobert sits, it looks like Gobert's going to sit. So we'll see. But if Gobert sits, like, I don't know, would it be the craziest thing to go out with a 3K Monroe who's, it's Zubac on the other side. So it's not, you don't have a stellar center. And Monroe has played some minutes this season, and not, points per minute has not been too bad. So some crazy flyer to just, keep there, right? Maybe, GPP on DK. Anyway,
why not?
Fun to watch out for.
Yeah.
So overall, I am going to go light on this game. Low scoring, slow pace. With all the other options out there, I probably won't be able to fit Mitchell in. 5,200 on FanDuel and 8,200 on FanDuel, 8,700 on DK. Fairly priced, but too many other options. Clarkson at 5,800 on FanDuel, 6K on DK has played well this year against the Clippers. So he might be someone if I have a mid-range option left, I'm gonna consider him again. Has played well against the Clippers, comes off the bench. So I might keep him in my consideration.
Okay.
That's it for me on Utah. Bogdanovich might be coming back. We don't know the situation, at center. So that's going to be it for me. On the Clippers side, I'm with you, Coach. It's always a toss up. And so I'm going to stay away with one exception, and that's Covington.
Okay.
Rocco has just 4,400 on DK. And again, he's another one of those. He's 5,800 on FanDuel. So a big discount this time on DK.
Yeah.
And he's just a guy, he's good for stocks. And so if he can get 2 steals, two blocks, he's playing a good amount of minutes. They're going to need him defensively. I like him at 4,400 on DK.
Yeah, that's a good flyer play there for sure. For me, it's really comes down to this in this game. I do like Donovan Mitchell. He's the only player in this game that I'd play, but I don't think I can afford him unless I go with him as opposed to DeMar DeRozan. They're similar price. I like both of them. DeRozan's a little cheaper now, but I am considering Mitchell just because the shot volume here, and they're going to need him to really score the ball. So he's the only option for me on Utah. I'm not interested. If for some reason Bogdanovich sits, Gobert sits, and they're starting Daniel House, and House has come back and doesn't have a minutes restriction, he could get 25 minutes at the min 3K and, help you out, make things work. So he's not out of it yet, but I need that news, and we may not have it. Being that this game is 2.5 hours, after everything else. And like I said, I truly mean it with the Clippers. It's just, if you can really figure out who's going to have a great game for the Clippers, then my hat's off to you, because there has been zero consistency with that team at all. They are all over the place and play decent amount of guys. So especially with George, if he plays back in the mix, even as little as he plays, just really muddies it even more. So, I could be sitting there and again, not have any exposure here, or if I'm able to finagle around to get Donovan Mitchell in, I think he is a decent play.
Yeah. A pretty light overall in this game for sure.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Anybody that loads up on this game, you've got some courage.
Exactly.
Or you just want to go into that late game saying, I know I'm
feeling good,
5 points behind, but I have 3 guys. Well, that is it, Deb.
All right.
I know on the road it's a little bit tougher. We all do it wherever we have to get the news out there. So I appreciate you jumping in, and certainly we'll look forward to having you back again on Sunday.
Absolutely.
So any final words on your side?
No, looking forward to that Milwaukee-Philadelphia game. Could be a preview of the conference finals there. So
it could be. I mean, it's wide open and they're all battling, so it should be a really good one.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Fantastic job. And tomorrow, it's an 11 gamer. I'll be solo tomorrow, so we'll lengthen the background so Dirk gets back in the picture. So no, but
you better have some extra coffee tomorrow.
Oh man, I know 11 games is a lot. So we'll see. But I want to get through tonight. Hammer some winners here between DFS and Prize Picks, and have a nice big fun free play pot of money to play with tomorrow. That'd be fun.
Do it.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Deb. Have a great day, everybody out there. Thank you for listening. If you want to join us here, it's dfscoachtalk.com. We'd love to have you. We have a memberships page. You can jump in for as little as 3 days for $10. Again, our presenting sponsor, thanks to them, Prize Picks, prizepicks.com. Use the promo code CoachTalk, one word, no space, and you get up to $100 free match right on that money. If you're watching this on YouTube, we do this 7 days a week in front of the paywall for both DFS and Prize Picks. The only thing we ask is thumbs up and subscribe. Those thumbs up and subscribes mean a lot for where the algorithm positions us on YouTube. Let us know how you're doing. Let us know your winners, questions. We'll be following the premieres of the podcast as it posts today, and we'll be answering those questions, any that you have for Deb or myself. So again, thank you, Deb. Great day. Enjoy the rest of your day. And I'll certainly be back again tomorrow as we look to crush it in NBA DFS.